Hello and welcome to Picture This. I'm Melissa and I am so excited that you're here because today we're going to be talking about two of my favorite things, art and nature. Nature is everywhere. Nature is a sandy beach or a muddy park, a tall mountain or a deep ocean. It is shells and rocks and flowers. It feels cold, hot, wet, dry, and everything in between. It has wings, scales, claws, or hair. That's because nature is all of the many different people and animals and plants that live together on planet Earth. You might know Chicago, where I live, for its tall buildings or busy subway system, but nature can be found in the city too. All you need to do is look around. When I'm walking in my neighborhood, I see nature when I look down and see a single blade of grass poking through the cracks of the sidewalk, or look up to find familiar shapes in the clouds. Every time we go outside, no matter where we live, we are in nature, because nature is the air we breathe, the sky we look up to, and the ground we walk on, even if it's covered by cement. There is so much to see and do and feel when we are outside in nature. We can use our 5 senses: seeing, smelling, hearing, touching, and tasting to explore with our whole bodies and discover new things. Sometimes when I am exploring outside, I like to play a game called 1, 2, 3, freeze. As I count, I take 3 big steps. Then when I freeze, I use my senses to name what is happening around me. This game helps me calm my body, focus my mind, and feel more connected with the nature around me. When I slow down like this, I am being mindful and taking note of what is happening in the world around me right at this very moment. Mindful looking can open our eyes to the earth and our place in it. We can also connect with the world around us by breathing deeply and moving our bodies. So let's try that now. You can start by getting cozy in a seat.
Feel free to take off your shoes if you like. You can even give your toes a little wiggle. Our breath moves like the wind. It flows in and out. Let's take 2 big, slow breaths together. In and out. In and out. Our body grows like a tree. So let's pretend our bodies are trees, growing tall and strong out in the earth. Imagine the sun is out, brightening and warming up the whole world. The sun shines on us and we start to grow. Extend your arms way out like branches. Reach and stretch. Maybe a gentle breeze is blowing over your branches, and you begin to sway a little. Feel your fingers wiggle as they too blow in the wind. If you can and would like to, continue reaching and stretching and growing your body into a standing position. Press your feet into the ground like roots growing deep under the soil. Test out your strong roots by bringing one foot on top of the other. Try to balance for a moment here. You might find it is easier to pose in this way by bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Or you can continue to reach your arms towards the sky, growing your branches towards the sun. Let's take one more breath in this position. In and out. Then we can put both feet side by side, pressing into the ground. Try bringing the other foot to rest on top this time. We can balance for another moment, finding your hands together in front of your heart or stretching out towards the sky. If you lose your balance, that's okay. Just take a moment and put your feet side by side on the ground again. And take another breath in and out. I wonder what kind of tree you are pretending to be. Where are you growing? As you bring your stretched out arms back down and relax them by your sides, imagine all the animals that find shelter in your branches, or the insects that tunnel homes among your roots in the dirt.
It is fun pretending to be a tree, but really, only a tree knows how to be a tree. In fact, that is exactly the title of the book I wanted to share with you. Let's read it together.
Only a Tree Knows How to Be a Tree. Written and illustrated by Mary Murphy. A tree has leaves that turn sunshine into tree food. Amazing! Later, the leaves change color and twirl to the ground. A tree gives shelter. It can be a home. Only a tree knows how to be a tree. Birds build nests for homes. They sing different songs, and their babies hatch from eggs. Best of all, they can fly. Only a bird knows how to be a bird. Dogs are our friends. They play with us and love us. They wag their tail and move their ears to show us how they feel. They flick water into their mouth to drink. I can't do that, but then only a dog knows how to be a dog. Water has no color, but you can see it. It makes rivers and oceans, clouds and rain and snow. Fish live in water. They flash like jewels. Everyone needs water. Only water knows how to be water. Only fish know how to be fish. Earth is where we live, with all the plants, animals, oceans, mountains, and rivers. Earth spins around and gives us day and night. It tilts through the year and gives us seasons. There are countless stars in the universe and many, many planets. But Earth is our home. Only Earth knows how to be Earth. Every comet, flower, cat, and beetle, every cloud, frog, stone, and duck, every mountain, river, and deer is different. Every tree is different. And they are all the only ones who know how to be them. As for people, there are billions of us. We eat and talk, sing and walk. We work, we play, we tell stories.
Do you see this friend right up here in the corner? They're making a pose just like we were, standing tall like a tree and balancing on one foot.
Every person has their own thoughts in their head and their own feelings in their heart. Every single person is different, and only they know how to be them. Only I know how to be me, and only you know how to be you. The end.
I really love this spread right here. The text reads, "A tree gives shelter. It can be a home.
A shelter helps to protect or cover something. Who do you see in the branches being sheltered by this tree?
I spy an owl with wide eyes and a pointed beak.
I spy a squirrel. Maybe it's looking around for an acorn to snack on. I spy a bird next to a tiny egg in a nest.
This illustration of a tree giving shelter reminds me of a sculpture at the Art Institute of Chicago by the artist Martin Puryear.
A sculpture is a type of artwork made by shaping or carving something, or by putting different materials together. Sculptures can be made out of stone, wood, clay, or any other material the artist wants to use. What do you think this sculpture is made with? Do you see any materials that came out of nature? This sculpture is called sanctuary. A sanctuary is like a shelter, a place of protection. Who or what could you imagine is being protected by this artwork? Sanctuary is a little more than 10 feet tall, which is as high as a basketball hoop. That is really tall. Does this sculpture remind you of anything you've seen before? Share your idea with somebody else. Do they see the same thing as you?
I can imagine this artwork being divided into 3 parts: a top, middle, and bottom. Let's start at the top and work our way down.
At the top of this sculpture sits a smooth wooden cube. The cube is made out of 4 square shapes. When the shapes connect, they leave a hole in the middle that we can see through. In the middle of sanctuary are 2 long tree branches. They look about the same length, and one is slightly darker than the other. The 2 branches seem to come out from the wooden cube on top. They start out side by side, then near the bottom, one crosses over in front of the other. Imagine you are running your hands along these tree branches. How do they feel? Is it the same or different as the cube on top? The 2 branches come to an end at the bottom of the sculpture by connecting to wooden pegs that are attached to a round wheel. The wheel is smooth like the cube on top.
What do we know about wheels? They are round, and they spin to move from one place to another. How is this round wheel at the bottom of sanctuary staying still? And how do you think the artist Martin Puryear balanced the 2 long tree branches and the smooth wooden cube on top of the wheel?
Sanctuary is made from the wood of 3 different kinds of trees: pine, maple, and cherry. By using materials that come from nature for his sculpture, Martin Puryear is celebrating the awesomeness of trees and creating something that shows their unique beauty. He is helping to remind us that when we are out in nature, we need to keep our eyes open. You never know when or where you might discover something amazing. Every single thing we find in nature is unique, so there is something different, something special about every tree, stick, rock, acorn, leaf, pine cone, or seashell.
When you are on an outdoor adventure, take time to stop and notice what is around you. You might even want to play the 1, 2, 3 freeze game that we talked about before. You can talk about the colors or textures or shapes that you notice. Nature is also a great place to get creative. You can take a picture of something interesting that you find, or look closely and make a drawing or a nature collage. One of my favorite ways to explore and create in nature is to go on a texture walk. All you need to do is go outside in your backyard or around your neighborhood and find different textures in nature. Scratchy grass, or a crunchy leaf, or a bumpy stick. One of the best ways to notice and appreciate the different surfaces you find is to do crayon rubbing. I'm going to share with you a project that my daughter and I did on our last texture walk around our neighborhood. You don't need many materials for a crayon rubbing, just crayons and paper. You'll want to remove any paper cover from around the crayon. You can also gather some other materials to make your art project go a little further. We used watercolor paints and brushes, scissors, glue, water, and paper towels. Tree rubbings are the easiest to start with. Hold your paper onto the trunk of the tree and rub the side of the crayon firmly over the paper. Try different kinds of trees and notice if their patterns or textures are the same or different. Leaves, rocks, sticks, or thick blades of grass all make interesting rubbings too.
We selected a few tree rubbings that we liked the best and added watercolor paints on top. You can choose whatever colors you like, but if you want the rubbing to show through, light colors work best.
Now that our paintings have dried, I am going to cut them into strips and make a colorful collage inspired by Martin Puryear's Sanctuary.
The first thing I'm going to do is check out all of the texture rubbings that we made. Some we chose to leave plain, and some we put watercolor paint on top. Then I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut the papers into strips. It doesn't matter what size strip you make. You could even play with them. Some long, some short, some wide, some skinny. Now that I've got all my pieces, I'm going to figure out how I want to rearrange them. Since the paper we were doing our rubbings with was white, I'm going to go ahead and use this piece of cardboard. Came from a box that we got in the mail, so we're just going to recycle it to use for our background for our paper sculpture. So I can just take these pieces and start to glue them down, but what I want to do is make it so that the pieces aren't so flat on the paper. And I want to think about some of those shapes from Martin Puryear's sculpture. So I want to think about the top of that sculpture with the cube shape. So I'm going to pick one piece and I'm going to start to fold it. I'm going to fold this strip in half and then I'm going to fold it in half again. And I'm going to open it back up. I've got all these great creases in here and I can even start to play with them a little bit until I make that cube shape that we saw at the top. I make just a little smaller dent here, little crease, so that I can use my glue. Try this on here and glue it together. Now I've got a cube shape out of paper. Awesome. Let's take this side. And I'm gonna put it right here. That way it's kind of coming out of my piece of cardboard. It's 3-dimensional. I can keep playing with shape this way. I can choose some pieces to lie flat around my cube. Maybe this one I'll put over here. But now I want to think about the middle of Martin Puryear's sculpture, and there were those 2 long branches that were coming side by side. But if you remember, they did something really interesting at the end. They crossed over each other. But I kind of like the way that this cube popped up, that it became 3-dimensional. So I'm going to try putting a little bit of glue on the end of my paper. And then another little bit on the other end of my paper. And and I'm gonna push it up a little bit. So it's kind of like I made a little, looks like a little mountain, a little arch. Gotta really make sure you push down. Did you see how mine fell down? If I push down on the glue, it'll help it to stay strong. So I'm gonna do the same with the second strip. A little on each side. And then that way, my two pieces can cross over each other. In the middle. I like how that looks. All right, now my last piece, I'm gonna come back to the bottom. I haven't used this really purpley one yet. I like the way that turned out. So I think with this one, I'm gonna just roll it, curl it onto itself. So we can make that wheel shape. And with a little bit more glue, I can bring it down here. So now we've got that rounded wheel shape. The two branches, the cube at the top. Lots of cool shapes that we're starting to connect. I wonder what other pieces I can start to create here.
Paper is a really fun and flexible material for making sculptures. You can fold, twist, rip, snip, and curl paper into all different kinds of shapes and unique creations. The possibilities are endless. If you are curious to see other ways that artists have looked closely at the world around them and created something new, the Art Institute of Chicago has many sculptures, paintings, drawings, photographs, and more inspired by nature. There is always something new to discover. Thank you for joining me as we explored the wonder found in art and nature. I'll see you next time at the museum.